Hello, I'm Devin. Welcome to my YouTube channel where I talk about using analog productivity tools to enhance the work that you're probably doing in the digital space. This video is an addendum to my Getting Things Done course where I want to answer the question, how do I know if it's working? I don't know about you, but I have over the past past decade really, I bounce from system to system to system to system because I'm like, I'm not sure if this one's really working. I'm not sure if this one's really working. Is it working as well as this other one? It's just this really annoying game of comparison. And that's where it's from all of that I've landed in Getting Things Done. And I've landed inside the Everbook as the medium through which I use Getting Things Done. So, how do you know if it's working? I've listed 5 items that you can use, you can keep in mind as you get started to evaluate how it's going. So number 1, you'll know that it's working when you don't spend time wondering if you forgot something. I think that we've all had that experience where you're supposed to be focused on a task here, but in the back of your mind something is telling you that there's something you've forgotten. And the worst part is, you don't know what that thing is, because obviously you forgot it. For whatever reason, as you implement Getting Things Done, that little "didn't we forget something" voice stops bothering you. Or at least, it bothers you much less frequently. And when it does bother you, it's actually loud because you're not used to ignoring it all the time. And so when it does show up, "You forgot something!" It's like, it's okay. We don't need to panic. What was it? Just tell me, what did I forget? Okay, we're going to put it through the system. We're going to make sure that thing goes exactly where it belongs. And so when you're using the system today, it's like your present self is doing favors for your future self. Then, step 2, your present self begins to learn that it can trust your past self. It's like, I don't need to worry that Devin 2 days ago was being irresponsible, and now Devin today is in trouble. No, Devin is responsible every day, and this system is where everything goes. I don't need to freak out if I'm forgetting anything. All right, moving along. You will know that the system is working when you intuitively park things where they belong. So we've had this experience. I use washing the dishes is when it happens to me. Evening, day is done, just me, clean up the house. My hands are occupied. My brain can go wherever. I'm washing dishes. Something pops into my brain. And you get to a point where you go, that needs to go into my Getting Things Done system. And it needs to go here. Maybe you say, it needs to go on this next actions list. Or you say, that needs to go into this page in a project support folder. Or, that needs to go over here on my calendar or on an agenda. You just very intuitively, you don't even think about it. You're just like, it's in my brain. Dish gloves come off. Grab a pen. Park the thought. Dish gloves go back on. You don't even think about it anymore. Things will also go into the inbox when it's a larger thought that you're going to need some time to flesh out. Well, park it in the inbox, not a big deal. But as this starts to unfold, you learn not to work on something the moment it comes into your mind. That's the worst, is when you're moment by moment by moment guided by the thoughts that come through your brain. To say, no, just because you've taken up a little bit of mind share doesn't mean I have to spend time on it right now. But I do need to spend time on it, and I'm going to put it into my system where I will come back to it in the appropriate context. Now, obviously, sometimes stuff happens. You just got to work on it immediately. Just do what you got to do, regardless. Okay. Number 3, how do you know that your Getting Things Done system in your Everbook is working? Others acclimate to your cadence of work. This has been reported all over the place, but one area is people stop reminding you to get back to them. Now, at first, right, if people are used to sending you something and you're not getting to it in a timely manner, they're used to bugging you and bothering you and say, like, hey, sent Devin a thing. I got to follow up with him in 2 days or I won't hear from him. But when you start putting those things in the system and you start reminding yourself in the right contexts and at the right times, people start getting the things that they need sooner than they were expecting them. And then all of a sudden, they stop reminding you. They don't personally feel the need to remind you anymore. And I've not really interviewed people to know how they feel like on the other side of that system, other than it feels very freeing not to have conversations. I mean, sometimes it happens, but not consistently, of everyone asking you for things all the time. Number 4, how do you know that you're getting things done? System in your Everbook is working. You have confidence that you can push back against the chaos. I shared this in lots of videos, right? I'm married, 4 kids with 1 on the way right now, and life gets messier. I'm just so used to life getting messier than I can clean it back up, right? The quantity of chaos coming in outpaces the cadence of work I'm able to use to clean it back up. And so it's an encroachment. It's a psychological or spiritual encroachment of like chaos and evil and confusion into my life. And it's represented in my office. Like my office is ground zero for that conflict. When you start, when getting things done starts to get some traction within you, you just start to notice, oh, things are clean. Progress is happening. Just doing a little thing here, 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 they all add up. Projects have been accomplished. Stuff, just the other day, I've had these like components of bookshelves just outside my office. I didn't realize how long they'd been there, but I saw them. I did that thing I talked about in my video. I walked around my house with little sheets of paper, and I wrote on one, I said, build bookshelf, and I put it in my in basket, and then it worked its way through my system. Found a day, I had some evening where I was like, it's time to do this. And yeah, project didn't go as planned. I had a board fall on my head. It was quite exciting. But my wife came down, helped me. We got it done. And then as we were finishing up, she mentioned, I think we've had these for a year. And I go, it had never occurred to me that's how long they've been there. It had never occurred to me. But just looking for things to do and putting them through the system and then taking action in the right context, we got that done. Now we have this cool little bookshelf thing in our basement. So that's just one example. And it'll be the next thing. It'll be the next thing. I'll just keep carving out a little bit of space, and you'll start pushing the darkness back. It's really cool. All right, last one. Number 5. How do you know if you're getting things done system in your Everbook is working? I love this one. It's really yours. No one else besides you could look at what you have and it would make any sense to them, and you don't care. You don't care. You say, this is for my mind alone. That's all this is for. This is not for anybody else. I'm not showing it off. Right? I made some like example sheets for my training videos, but like my real ones don't look like that. They're kind of crazy sometimes. But like, I don't need anyone else. I've built something and I'm using something that's really just for me. If you're familiar with the term of, we might call it personal responsibility. There's a term self-differentiation. It all contributes to honing in on your responsibilities and accomplishing them and shutting out so many other things. And you start to cross that threshold where if you're like me, when you get started, you're going to want to tell everybody. Like, you're going to sit down with friends, you're like, going to pull out my Everbook and just pop it on the desk and just want people to ask you about it, and they're going to think it's cool. But then eventually there comes a point where you're like, if I opened this and showed it to you, you'd think I'm a crazy person. But I don't care, because this isn't made for me to show you. This is made for me to stay on top of my things. This is for my own peace of mind. Just for me, not anybody else. You cross that threshold and it starts to feel really good. So, 5 ways you know the system is working. Please be patient with yourself. at least 2 months, if not 3, to settle in. You're going to probably find a new way to do your next actions list and organizing those contexts in new ways. You're going to come up with new ways to do your calendar. You're going to come up with how exactly do agendas fit into the situation? What constitutes a project? What should go on the someday maybe list? You're just going to feel it all out until eventually it settles into something that you're like, this makes sense. It's intuitive. It is an expression of how my own mind works, and I don't need to rely on. Like, I don't care what anyone else is doing. I've got enough on my plate. So, I hope that's useful. Take care.